Hey, 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 my beautiful twin flames, and welcome back to Tarot for You 444. I'm so excited that you're here with me today, and there's been lots of synchronicities happening. So, I want you to pause the video, grab yourself a cuppa, ready? Pause. That's probably the worst, the worst pause ever. It might be too hot though. It's perfect. Absolutely perfect. So now today, I want to do a Divine Masculine Speaks video because I feel it's really poignant that we understand him. And the only way to understand him is if we actually actively listen to his perspective of the twin flame journey. And so, having worked with a lot of divine feminines and masculines, I want to talk a little bit about some of the types of divine masculines, first of all, that you may come across. All right, so I've written these down. I prepared these earlier. And some people might say, okay, so I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll just quickly tell you what they are. My writing's a bit messy to hold it up, so I won't. All right. So let's start. Let's get straight into it. I'll try and be as serious as I can, but I can't promise you that I won't make jokes in the middle. Because life is too serious sometimes, so I feel like it's important that we do this. Alrighty, so the first type of divine masculine that you might come across is a divine masculine who's in a relationship currently, but who is unhappy. Alright, so many of you have got a divine masculine that's with a karmic partner or in a marriage, and they're unhappy. Okay. The second one is a divine masculine who is awakened, perhaps not fully awakened, and so is therefore using things to cope. That might be an addiction of some kind, which may be drugs or porn or food or alcohol or any kind of drug. Work could also be an addiction here, using that to cope. And they may or may not be in a connection with someone else. Okay. The next type of divine masculine you may come across is someone who is rich, as in has a lot of money, but is spiritually empty inside. So this divine masculine is most likely unawake and, is going after the money. The money is the most important thing. Not to say that money is bad, but it can affect our connection to source energy if we're focused too much on making the green. You know what I mean? Okay. So number 4 is a spiritually awake divine masculine who is lonely and yearning for something more. So they've awakened, they understand, that there's more to us than just a, go to work 9 to 5 or whatever and come home and watch Netflix and go to bed. You know what I mean? They're spiritually awake. They know there's more going on. They know they have a soul. They feel things. They might be empathic. They might have some kind of spiritual gift. And this divine masculine feels like there's something missing. Okay. Okay. The next type of divine masculine, number 5, is the kind of divine masculine who knows that he's got a connection with his twin flame, but he doesn't necessarily know about the twin flame journey. And so he keeps his options open, if that makes sense. So he might be in and out a little bit. He might be a little bit unsure. And he has this fear of missing out on something better, and so he keeps his options open, even though he knows the connection is, blissful when he comes into communication or connection with his divine feminine. Number 6 is kind of important here. This is divine masculine who's in a player energy. So this is a divine masculine who, does the whole friends with benefits, is looking for multiple people to spend time with because he may want more, in terms of sex and things like that. All right. So now I've said the words divine masculine here. However, we need to remember that we've got a 3D consciousness and a 5D consciousness. So in the 3D consciousness, which is where we would come into our ego and live from our mind space as opposed to our heart space, this is where the behaviors of the divine masculine, who naturally in his soul essence, in his heart space, in his 5D and above consciousness, would be in his divine energy. Okay, so out of these divine masculines that I've mentioned 6 different types here. A lot of these energies are distorted. A lot of these, I shouldn't say energies, I should say behaviors. So the soul frequency of your divine masculine is pure, but when his behaviors become distorted, he's living in a 3rd dimensional consciousness as opposed to a 5D consciousness and above. All right. So if he's using something outside of himself to cope, like a drug or alcohol, porn addiction, etc., then he's coming from a 3rd dimensional consciousness. He's not living in his heart space. He's living in his ego, or you could say his mind space. Okay. All of these divine masculines that I've mentioned are distorted in some way, shape, or form. Number 4 was spiritually awake, and would be the only one that I would consider being in his divine energy. Knowing that there's something missing, knowing there's that piece to the puzzle that's missing, which is, of course, the divine feminine. So what I want you to understand is that most people who are using something outside of themselves to cope, whether that's a drug, whether that's work, whether that's an addiction to having more money, whether that's an addiction to sex, whether that's an addiction to avoiding texting, divine feminine, or avoidance in general, not necessarily just avoiding divine feminine. These are behaviors that occur when someone is in a 3rd dimensional consciousness. And of course, divine feminine can go here too. And it's very easy to go from 3rd dimensional consciousness to 5th dimensional consciousness. And if you've got an awakened DM that you've met, and he's spiritually awake and not in a distorted energy, you'll know the feeling of being in a 5th dimensional and above consciousness. It's a bliss. It's a feeling of safety. It's a feeling of security. You could even compare it to being holy. It feels like you're being wrapped up in a warm hug. It feels like nothing else matters. It feels like you're in a bubble where you don't want to let that person go. It feels like nothing else matters in your life once you've met them. Okay. And then, of course, you know, many twin flames will talk about the runner and the chaser and the all of that kind of thing. You know, twin flame coaches, I mean. So, I don't know that I like to say that one twin runs away from another here. I like to say that whoever's doing the running is running away from themselves. Because when you look at your twin flame in the eye and you have a conversation with them, they're reflecting back to you yourself. Okay? So as they're reflecting back you, ask yourself, what am I doing that's perhaps not matching their frequency? Okay. So this is where I want to talk about manifesting a twin flame. Originally, when you met, you were probably going through some kind of awakening or some kind of feeling that you were going to better yourself, or you were going to make things better, or you were, you know, in a joyful kind of place within inside of yourself, you know, or you were just bettering yourself in some way. You know, you might have started an exercise regime. You might have started your own business. You might have started realizing that there's more and, you know, feeling better inside of yourself. You know, you might have been trying to attract things via the law of attraction or something like that, something spiritual or even holy. Maybe you're religious and you're doing more religious practice or something like that. And this heart space energy, or the heart-based energy, is what will attract in your twin. Because that's the closest to your soul. When you're coming from a heart-based space, that's what your soul is. Your soul is literally the most loving frequency that is you. All right? So, for those of you who want to attract in your twin flame, I have my 1 hour manifesting twin flame video, which has worked for many, many, many twin flames and is a highly important resource for twin flames to use, because you can understand the twin flame journey from an energetic perspective. Okay. If you are comparing it to a third dimensional relationship where there's this tit for tat, you know, I'm angry at my divine masculine because he never comes in, you know, I don't love him anymore, or, you know, all of that kind of drama, third dimensional consciousness stuff, then your twin flame will not be attracted to you at all, because you're not coming from your heart space. So anything that comes from ego, like blaming or judgment or anything that's not loving, will actually detract your twin flame, whether you're a divine feminine or a divine masculine. So isn't it funny how we often hear divine feminine saying, I'm done. He can go have his karmic, he can go and revel in all of those women, or he can go and do whatever. And then they, you know, the divine feminine just gets to a point where she says, I'm done. And that's because it's such a turn off when her divine masculine becomes distorted. Just as it is a turn off when divine feminine becomes distorted. Okay. So I've said this before, and I want to say it again because I know I've got some new subscribers who probably haven't heard this concept before, and I think it's very important. The divine feminine is the receiving energy, okay? So the divine feminine is the sitter and the waiter, as in she sits and waits in a non-expectant kind of energy, like the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, I'll try and find her in here. Hopefully she's not too far away. Or even the Empress is a great example too. Okay, the Empress and the Emperor here in the tarot are great examples of the twin flame couple, because the Empress sits in her love. You can literally see the flowers on her dress there, right? And she sits and she waits for her divine masculine to come in. If you notice, she sits there comfortably, and she sits there calmly, and she sits there in a nurturing energy. You know, if someone was going to come to her, you could tell that she would wrap her arms around and be loving in an unconditional way. You can also notice behind her that there is like a sword or something like that, and that means that she can speak her truth. There's only a small stream here, so she's not too emotional, but she's nurturing. She's willing to grow with these leaves here, and she's willing to plant beautiful seeds within her own mind and around her to sit in this comfortable energy. So she's fine without her divine masculine. Okay. Now that doesn't mean that she doesn't want her divine masculine to come in. That does not mean that at all. She does. She longs for him to come in. But divine masculine, when he's not distorted, is in this beautiful emperor energy. And you see how his root chakra and his solar plexus, which is, his sacral chakra and solar plexus represented, you know, there's yellow here, there's orange here for the sacral, and there's red for the root chakra. He's balanced and he's wise. He's the king of all kings. Okay? He's been there, he's done that, got the postcard if you like. He knows how to nurture. In his divine energy, he knows how to nurture. He has all the answers. He has the clarity. He has the love. And he really, really has the ability to know what to do. Divine feminine is, look, there's the love heart. She comes from her heart space. Divine masculine leads from his root chakra. Right? This is the energy. The root chakra is the energy that's balanced and grounded and centered. He's independent. He's poised to go. He's ready when he's in his divine energy. And she needs him to wrap around her. And as his energy wraps around her, she receives it. You could also say that the penis and the vagina, right? The vagina is the receiving energy and the penis is the giving energy here. And so divine feminine needs to sit in that waiting, beautiful energy so that the divine masculine can come into her, and then they literally plug in together. All right? I'm not going to do rude hand symbols. But you know what I mean, right? It's like they plug in together. They match. They're a match. Okay? Now, divine feminine often comes out of this nurturing energy into this needy energy, and that's okay because she does need him. The divine masculine wants divine feminine, and the divine feminine needs him. He literally charges her, okay? This is why it always seems like the divine feminine's like, where is he? I miss him so much. Oh my God, it's only, like as soon as he says goodbye, I need him again. And it's because she does. She does need him again. Because he wraps himself around her in this very dominant but beautiful, controlled way. And that's what she needs. So if your divine masculine is distorted, it's very difficult to get what you need from your twin. Because both twins need to be awakened enough. Divine feminine needs to be able to sit in this beautiful energy, drawing from nature, drawing from source energy. You could say this is source energy. God, Allah, Buddha, whoever she believes in. She has faith. 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 And for some divine feminine, they haven't even met their twin flame yet. But if she has enough faith, and if she raises her vibration high enough, then her divine masculine will come in. Okay? But most important message I want to give to both divine feminine and divine masculine here is this is not a third dimensional consciousness relationship. It is a giving and a receiving where the divine feminine receives the masculine energy. He does have all the answers. He does know how to work this out. He is the man of the relationship. And if you want to comment below and tell me how 1950s I'm being, that's not what I'm trying to be. I'm not saying she needs to cook and clean and all of that kind of thing. I'm saying she needs to be in her receiving energy on an energetic level so that he can come in and give to her. It's like magnets that are attracted to each other. One is feminine and one is masculine, and they fit. They need each other. Well, you could say that the masculine one wants the other one and the other one needs it. The other one goes bloop, it kind of sticks when he gets closer. So if your divine masculine is distorted divine feminine, if he's doing distorted behaviors, the best thing you can do is to help him through that. To help him not use alcohol, not use drugs, not lie, not cheat, not do those things to harm himself. How do we help someone who's distorted? We become divine in ourselves so we can lead by example. And as you raise your frequency, you'll find that their frequency also begins to change, because they'll see in you a reflection of what they need to be. And so what becomes the most important thing now is your frequency, your constant need to keep your frequency high, your constant need to keep your thoughts positive, your constant need, if you're a divine feminine, to sit in this beautiful, beautiful waiting energy, receiving energy, so that the divine masculine can come in in all his glory. This is the king of all of the four kings. You know, the emperor is the king of clarity, the king of love. He also has money, and he also has passion. He does have all the answers for divine feminine. He does know what he's doing. If your divine masculine is awakened, you can comment below and let everyone know how wonderful your divine masculine is when he is awakened, because he will be loving. He will be nurturing. He will not ghost you. He will not leave you. He will pursue you. He will want to touch you. He will want to hug you. He will want to cook dinner for you. He will know that compared to everyone else in his whole life that he's ever met before, you are the one that he needs to be with. He will treat you like the queen of all queens, because he'll know in an awakened way that there's no one else that's going to be better for him. You know, his plug doesn't fit into any other hole, if you get my meaning, without sounding crude, right? He only belongs with her, and he'll know this if he's awake. Okay. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I think that's enough for you to take in today. This is a twin flame concept video and a divine masculine speaks video. So I'm going to put it in both categories, I think. If you want to find this again, you know, to just go over it. If you want a private reading from me, please email me. My address is below. If you want the Ascension package, please let me know. I also have a manifesting twin flame video which will make you understand the energetic connection and how you need to keep your frequency at a higher level. And there's a little secret in there that is really good too. If you're not sure what you need from me and you just want to contact me, that's fine too. I don't mind answering emails. And I don't know, I wanted to quickly show you something before I go. I went outside before and I can't climb back up in the tree, but you see the little bed, it's a little birdie bed, hang on, a nest, right? And of course Cookie now has got a place to sleep, so I kind of think that's really cool. So yes, yeah, I couldn't climb back up in the tree and put it back in the nest, but I just wanted you to see how remarkable it is. If you've never seen one close up, it's such a beautiful thing that, you know, oh, sorry, whoops. I just dropped Cookie. I think he'll forgive me. Sorry, Cookie. Okay, he's fine. We'll just pop him. He's in the nest now. He looks very comfortable in there. Oh dear. Oh dear. I knew something funny was going to happen. I was being very serious, all topic, and then, whoops, we lost some of the nest. We'll just pop that back in there and we'll be fine. Yeah, so I think this video is important because many of you are contacting me saying your divine masculine's doing this or doing this or doing this or doing this or doing this. But when he comes into his divinity, let's say, let's use the word divinity as opposed to distorted, then he'll know what to do, and divine feminine will just be able to receive all of that. Okay. Yeah, so if you need more help, let me know. Contact me. I'm more than willing to help you if you need my help. The twin flame journey is a difficult journey because it means you have to take stock of yourself, and you have to take a look at yourself, and you have to take a very close look at yourself and say, maybe I need to change something about me. And if you're in a distorted energy, or you're moving from third dimensional consciousness into fifth and back and forward, the fallback can be quite yucky. Or if you're living in a higher consciousness and everyone around you is living in a lower consciousness, it can be very hard to maintain that energy. And there are ways of doing this, which in turn attracts your twin flame, because they are attracted to the highest version of their soul, which is, of course, an ascended state of consciousness. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. When I'm referring to ascension, just quickly as a side note, I'm referring to the consciousness of a human being. Okay. What level are they at in their frequency, and are they maintaining that? And if not, I would call that distorted. And if they are maintaining it, I would say that they're divine. And I also can say that we can go from divine to distorted, from divine to distorted. And this is why many of you as twin flames get confused, because when you first meet your divine masculine, he may very well be in his divinity, in his divine energy, and it's bliss and it's wow, and you've never met anyone like him, or vice versa, if we're talking about divine masculine talking to his divine feminine. And then, of course, the brain comes in and gets really scared. And this is where the consciousness can change from that beautiful higher consciousness into a lower state of consciousness, and then the behaviors can start, the dramas can start, ghosting, or not coming in, or not texting, or not calling, or some people have been ghosted for 10 months or even years, and they don't know why. And so I hope this video makes it a little bit more understandable, because I really think this is a concept that needs to be understood. If your divine masculine is acting distorted, then he's being a distorted masculine, not a divine masculine at this time. That doesn't mean that tomorrow he won't be in a different energy. Doesn't mean that he's not jumping from different consciousness levels either. But just remember, divine feminine can do the same. Divine feminine can vibrate at a lower level and stay in a third dimensional consciousness. And so, it's about keeping the consciousness higher to attract in your twin. And if you don't know how to do this, contact me, and I'll be able to hopefully help you get into union with your twin, as I've done with many twins already. Okay. Yeah. So a kind of serious topic today, not many jokes. But tomorrow we could have some jokes. Alrighty. I love you all. Mwah. I'm sending love, light and peace from Australia. I know I've got viewers from all around the world. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day, night, afternoon, evening or morning, wherever you are in the world. And if you haven't got a cuppa yet, why not? Bye. Bye.